Welcome to Medicare Guru's Sales Dojo here in Cedar Park, Texas. A happy new year to all of you. Guys, hope you had a wonderful time celebrating with your family and friends. And now today, the first Monday of the new year, we're ready to get back to work. Today, what I want to talk to you about is what is your 2023 going to look like? Do you want to be successful this year? And if you do, you're watching these dojos. Hopefully, we got some new members watching. But if you do, what is that annual plan going to look like? You know, how are you going to be successful as a Medicare agent for Medicare Gurus or for anywhere in 2023? So what we'll talk about today is we'll talk about, the schedule, how Medicare looks, and then what your plan is, setting an actual goal, going from an annual plan to a monthly plan to a weekly plan to a hourly plan. Okay. I don't like to do daily plans because, with sales, it can be frustrating, and you're like, oh, I didn't reach my daily goals. Like I got to try for tomorrow. I like to do a weekly plan for sales, and then I like to do an hourly plan because it keeps me on task to make sure that I'm hitting my goals for that hour. So let's go to our annual plan. What is your annual plan going to look like for 2023? Well, if you are new to Medicare, you have to know what we call the seasons of Medicare, okay? If you are brand new to this, okay, the first season is the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. That is from January 1st to March 31st. What this season consists of are, if you are a Medicare recipient that has or has signed up for a Medicare Advantage plan for 2023, let's say you signed up during open enrollment period last year, and your new plan starts January 1st, okay? The first season, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you did not sign up for that plan, maybe it was accidental or it was mishandled, or for whatever reason, you received a card in the mail for a plan that you did not sign up for, and you find out that that plan is on your record, then you did not sign up for that plan. If you're one of those, or if you did sign up for a plan that you were conscious of and you just said, you know what, my doctor's not in network, or I don't like the benefits of this plan, or you just did not realize the details involved with this particular plan, okay? You have a one-time chance between January 1st and March 31st to change your plan, okay? Now, if you are a Medicare Guru's agent, you want to talk to these people about their situation, okay? You first want to ask them, why do you want to switch your Medicare Advantage plan? Okay. Now you'll get answers of the following. I did not sign up for that plan. I'm unhappy with the plan and I delayed it. I forgot that I had to do it between October and December, so I want to change it now. I had a lot of clients who were military veterans who were they signed up for an Advantage plan and they realized, oh, I was misinformed. I didn't realize I'd be, having to make my Medicare Advantage plan my primary care. And I don't want to do that. So I want to get off of this. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to find out what the reason is for being on a Medicare Advantage plan. Okay. And then by finding out why they are on that plan, now you want to get them to switch. So the first conversation, you don't want to be, and this is for Medicare Gurus agents, or if you want to be a good agent, this is advice to you. You don't just want to do a random switcheroo, okay? You don't want to say, oh, you want to switch? Okay, let's get you another Advantage plan. You have to do a good discovery, as we talked about last week, on why they want to switch. Okay, well, I want to switch because I, have health concerns and I really don't like this network that I'm limited to and handcuffed to. Okay. Well, let's talk about your health and then start going into discovery with their health concerns, okay? If you are doing a diligent job with your underwriting discovery, you may be able to talk to them about getting them into a Medicare supplement. Now, you have to understand this, that the bulk of Medicare agents in the United States, and I know this because I'm the head recruiter here and I'm talking to hundreds and hundreds of agents who are in the field as well as wanting to change their field. They are telling me that they have little to no, as well as their business has little to no understanding of how Medicare supplements work. They just say, oh, well, they're expensive, and they just kind of wean them off of them because their company doesn't really get paid on Medicare supplements, which in fact is not true. So when you're talking to these clients about Medicare supplements during this time, you have to remember that in order to get a Medicare supplement, if you are on a Medicare Advantage plan at this time, you have to medically qualify for one. Okay. So when you're talking to them, your health discovery doesn't have to necessarily go down the application rabbit hole, but you need to, this is where you're building a relationship with them. You say to them, okay, well, in order to, look at some other options, we have to check and see how your health is. Okay. And that still can be an Advantage plan as well. But don't jump into Medicare Advantage questions, or what type of plan do you want? What type of dental do you want? What type of, we don't want to do that. Okay. So what we want to do first is season 1, you're talking to people about Medicare Advantage plans and why they want to switch, because this is the time of the year. So after you find out why they want to switch, you move on to the next question. Okay, what can we get you? If you've talked to them about possible Medicare supplements, you follow the script and you get into how Medicare supplements work, because they have no idea. So if you're at that point where, we have talked about qualifying questions, selector questions, everything that is in the script that has leaned you toward getting them a Medicare supplement, then you start going down the Medicare supplement track. Okay. If they have health concerns where they don't qualify for a Medicare supplement, well, then you start talking about Medicare Advantage plans as well. So what you want to do is, after you go over those questions, you want to lead them into either Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage. Now, that goes on until the end of March. Okay. You can switch from a Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan, or a Medicare Advantage plan to a prescription drug plan, getting them back on original Medicare. And then while you're doing that, getting them qualified for a Medicare supplement. So let's choose which order you go. If you're doing Medicare Advantage to Medicare Advantage, the process is just like annual election period, just like October to December. Okay, you do your normal enrollment and you type in, that they're switching for this one time. Okay, now let's talk about during this time, if someone wants to get a Medicare supplement. Okay, you've talked to them, you've engaged with them, and they're like, you know what? That's what I want. I want a Medicare supplement. In order for this to work, what you have to do is they have to qualify. So what you do is you go over your Medicare supplement presentation, explain to them how it works, and explain to them that part of the process is that they have to qualify for one first. So what you have to do as early as you can is say, look, we got to get an application going at the rate that you want to pay. So here are some health questions that I want to ask you. And you go from generalized health questions to narrowing down to a more specific health questions, because we want to get them an application going. So once you submit an application for a Medicare supplement, you've gone over the rate, you've gone over the premium, you've gone over, everything for Medicare supplement, you submit an application, you wait until the application has been approved for that start date, because you have to see if they qualify first. We don't want to get them off their Advantage plan. Okay. So once they are approved for a Medicare supplement, then you enroll them in a prescription drug plan, which they will automatically be approved for. So to finalize the steps, apply for a Medicare supplement, wait for the approval of that supplement, sign them up for a drug plan. Okay, you have this window of time between January 1st and March 31st. Okay, so that is season 1. Okay, now let's talk about what we call the off season. Okay, the off season is from April 1st to October 1st. Okay, I know that's a very long season. The majority of your Medicare business will be few and far between. If you're working as a Medicare Guru's agent, you'll be having people calling in because they have DSNP opportunities, or they have SEP opportunities, meaning they moved, or they just started Medicaid. And you'll get a lot of those calling in like, hey, I just started Medicaid. What are my options? Well, great. Let's talk about those. You'll have those SEPs as well as sprinkling of others. But for the most part, your Medicare Advantage book of business will be D-SNPs and minor SEPs. Where your bulk of your business is going to be for this year is going to be Medicare supplements. Okay. If this is your first year, this is the time of the year where you're going to be grinding and calling those folks on those numbers to tell them, look, this is the time of the year where your rate is increasing. We got to make sure that you are taken care of and making sure that you are not paying more than what you need to pay. And if you can qualify to make sure that, as you were well aware of, nothing is going to be changing with your coverage. I use this line a lot in discussing Medicare supplements because a lot of new agents get confused with this. They're like, oh, do you want a supplement or do you want an Advantage plan? Well, the truth is that do you want an Advantage plan or do you want to go back to original Medicare, which is a far superior coverage? Okay, you're going to have, the flexibility and the predictability as we talk about in here. But if they want to go back on original Medicare, great. So let's get you that supplement. Okay, and that's where the bulk of your business is going to be from April 1st to October 1st. Okay, some words of advice. Okay, as we're talking about the off season, when you are talking to a client, okay, and they have a Medicare Advantage plan and they can't do anything at this time. Okay, this is the off season. This is April to October. And you're talking to them and you say to them, okay, well, you have no D-SNP or MDE eligibility. You also have, hey, how's it going? You have no SEP eligibility. What we can do is we could talk to you in October. And then what we'll do is we'll set up something for October. What you need to do, and this is what a lot of agents fail to do, is follow up with them month after month. So what you're going to do is you're going to set on the calendar every month. Hey, this is Stephen Grip. Just check in and see how things are going, see how your health is, making sure everything's okay. Looking forward to speaking with you in October. A lot of times agents, what they'll do is they'll just say, okay, talk to you in October, and they don't talk to them until October, and they never hear from them again. So, hi.
What's up, man?
How we doing?
Good.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
We're just talking about plans for the year. We're starting with our annual plan. So I'm just kind of introducing new agents to the seasons. We're talking about the open enrollment period and then off season, then getting ready for their next AEP next year. But we're also talking about like how agents are afraid to talk about supplements during this time. Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because they don't know how to sell. They don't know it. Medicare Advantage was designed to be easy, to make a big, complicated problem, which is healthcare, our big health industry, how that fits with you, into little things like a free goodie or a gym membership or a little, take the big complex. That's the same thing politicians do, and it kind of comes from politicians, so it makes sense. Is take a big, complex thing that's very hard to deal with and unmanageable and make the decision point something trivial and small. And so that's what it is. And so then the agents come in selling free this, a little bit of that, this little bell, this little whistle, and they don't understand the decisions that our clients need to make regarding their healthcare. I've always said that they're not making insurance decisions, they're making future healthcare decisions. And so that's the learning curve that people have to come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, and so to understand a supplement, is something that you can build a career if you become the person that understands Medicare, the ins and outs of Medicare, that it's not a choice between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement, that it's a choice between traditional Medicare and Medicare Advantage.
Right.
And then if you choose traditional Medicare, which 95% of people should, then what, if you want a supplement or not, and then if so, which supplement to get.
Right.
Like that's the paradigm that most people don't understand.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the decision points between traditional Medicare and Medicare Advantage, and you take out the trivial stuff of, on the peripheral, the small dollar items, and you look at, okay, I just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and I don't want to die quick. So I want to go get the best healthcare possible with the less stuff in my way. Would I rather have Medicare Advantage or this for the major medical? Right. But for an agent's journey, everyone seems to be looking for the easy money. And you know what people get when they want the easy money, and they don't want to learn, they don't want to commit themselves long-term to becoming a student and becoming that person that is worthy of people seeking advice after. What they get is a short-term employment opportunity.
Yeah.
Or they get an annual enrollment period where they get to make a little money for a couple months by lying to people and not seeing the results of that, because 90% of people are in the wrong MA plan. That, if you shop just the MA plans, 90% of people get the wrong one because they don't have good agents learning how to make those decisions well for them.
Right.
And what happens about that is people suffer and people die unnecessarily because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I made some bucks to put up my numbers and all that. People aren't taking it seriously, that this is a real profession that takes a real professional that should really learn over a period of time what matters, so that you can have a legacy of knowing that you help people, put people in the best situation possible. And that's not about a gym membership and a premium, a zero premium or anything else in very few situations. Mm-hmm. But that's a big complex thing. So what I would say, people, you're setting your sights for 2023, you want to get started, is you got to realize, you got to not say, how am I going to handle this client or that client? It's like, who am I going to become? Mm-hmm. Because the person who becomes very knowledgeable, understands clients in different situations, understands the intricacies of the plans and more, even the spiritual aspect of the entire thing, they don't have to, hey, I got the greatest thing ever, da, 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 da. They don't have to do that so much.
Right.
Because their natural energy and all that, people just come to them and know that this person knows their stuff.
Right.
That person who becomes that doesn't have to learn all the techniques about how to get a referral, because they do such a good job for people that everyone's like, you got to go see my guy.
Right.
Right. And so what people need to look at in 2023 is, who am I going to become? And then you take that down. I'm just going to go on a rant here, if you don't mind.
No, you're fine.
And then you take that down, like, who do I want to see myself becoming? Because if I become the right thing, I will draw into me from the universe and from people what that person deserves. So who do I want to become? What's the delta between where I am now and that? And then you take that all the way down to, what do I do every day, every week, every month, every year? Mm-hmm. You start looking at that. What are my activities, my thoughts, my beliefs, my habits? How am I going to evolve those every single day to be on that path? It's not, I want to lose 20 pounds in 90 days, or I want to, go through this course and get a degree. It's, I want to set myself on a path of natural evolution, where everything I do helps evolve me as a person, as a professional, everything else over time. And I think that's the goal of life. But we want to talk about 1 year, set a 1 year path. When you come to January 1st, 2024, how are you going to be different? How are you going to be better? Mm-hmm. What is it that you'd really like to see in yourself? And that's why we have mentors and idols and stuff like that. Like, I'd like to see more of that in myself. Right. I actually did the vision board for the first time last summer. You know what a vision board is?
Yeah, a literal board.
Yeah. I did it with pictures of myself from the past. So I went out and I got a picture of myself when I was in super shape, when I was 11% body fat and 175 pounds. I had that up, and then I had just different things that were pictures of me and my daughter in the perfect situation, picture of me and my wife in the perfect, and I started putting all these things together. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and put it in place in my office at home every day. I started looking at it. And it helps, but then it got buried, and there's some stuff got buried on top of it, and I didn't do it. So I'm gonna re-up my commitment to that. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, don't allow it to be a short-term thing. People have a New Year's resolution, I'm going to do this and that, and they put so much pressure on themselves to get this result of this specific thing that they want, and they try to force control that, right? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to make so many sales. I'm going to do all these things. And a lot of those are outcome-based, and it's just like in sales. I teach a salesperson, don't say, I'm going to make X sales a day or a week or a month. Try to get that, but if you do that without saying, I'm going to do these activities in order to get that, and those that, I'm going to make, then you're not going to get there. But then the next step of it is, people say, I'm going to make so many, like this is what rookies do. If I make X calls, I make X sales, so I'm going to make X calls. Mm-hmm. Well, that always fails, and they wonder why. Well, why? Because every time you make a sale, you lose the opportunity in that time you're making the sale to make a whole bunch of calls. So if the goal becomes making X amount of calls, then you have to get off the phone away from the customer to make those calls,
right.
and you'll never make
call goal.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you got to look at that. But if you set your goals, they talk about SMART goals, they talk about all this, but you set your goals on who you're going to become and what you're going to do in order to become that, then that's something that's in your control, and it's going to set you on the right direction. You may not hit, 20 pounds in 30 days or 90 days or whatever it is. You may not make 40 sales this month or 20 sales or 10 sales, whatever your goal is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on the path of self-improvement, of working towards and getting better and better, and you're always evaluating your results as you go, I mean, success is not a straight path. It normally goes in circles, right?
Right.
And then it goes ups and downs and circles and all those things. You want to make those ups and downs smaller and smaller on your way up, and you want to avoid the big falls.
Right.
But that's the bottom line of my rant is work on who you're going to become and what you're going to do to become that.
Yeah.
And this isn't something that you can go back to eating Cheetos on the couch in February or in 2024 or 25 or whenever. God's going to retire us all one day. But until then, I think this is our whole purpose in life.
Yeah. So let's go back to that habits versus outcomes, because people are outcome driven. Like, I need to have 20 pounds gone by this amount of time,
right.
And that's not going to work. How does one become a better Medicare supplement salesman?
Well, first of all, you got to learn products.
Mm-hmm.
People want to worry about techniques, but clients can sniff for BS from a mile away. Always, when you're trying to wing it on products. And the way you sell is by superior product knowledge. In our script, we go through the ins and outs, A, B, C, D, here's A and B, and here's how the plan G fits like a lock into a key in a lock, this, right. And you demonstrate every single aspect of all of that. So having good mentors like people like us who can show you those things and have a proven system, first of all, but then it's beyond that, like really understanding the intricacies. Why would I not buy a plan B? What's a plan B? No one sells a plan B. I don't need to know about that.
Right.
You don't need to know about it. Like, you're trying to do as little as possible if you tell me that.
Right.
You should get that chart with all the plans. You should look through that outline of coverage, and you should read everything. You should get a Medicare supplement insurance policy. They have sample policies. The carriers have sample policies. You should get that, and you should read every line. My dad made me do that when I was young, because you'll see things in that policy that tell you, I mean, people know what guaranteed renewable for life is. Why does that matter? All these, why that's a Medicare supplement, all that. So superior product knowledge, first of all, you have to have it. Second of all, you have to be able to demonstrate that you have it and that you're on the person's side. So, first learn your product, learn how to not be full of it.
Right.
And and then learn your system. The other thing I'll talk about right now that everyone should do, it's becoming increasingly harder for people to be successful. And the reason why is because we live in a very, very noisy world. I was reading the book of Ecclesiastes the other day, and in the last chapter of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it's right a few books after Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, right? So the last book of that, if y'all don't know the book of Ecclesiastes, if you ever just want to have your mind blown, and it's something that's not very religious, it's like wise teachings and all this, and it'll just blow your mind if you read the book. It's like 12 chapters, and then the last one, it says, this is the sum of all the wisdoms from the teacher who wrote it, and it says, learn from this and add nothing to it and take nothing away from it. Something about, because this is some words of one teacher. It says, take nothing away from it or add nothing to it. And then it says, of the making of many books, there is no end, and much study wearies the body. Now, this is, of making many books, there is no end. Now, think about when this was written, probably 3,000 years ago, right? They didn't even think about the internet by that point. And they're saying of making many, I mean, they were still scribing, right? the point of that was this book was lifelong lessons learned from a wise teacher that he was given to people, and his idea was have one student. Have one teacher. One system of making many books. There's no end, and much study wearies the body, and we all have weary bodies right now because we have 1,000 mentors. We turn on YouTube and God, there's 1,000 people trying to show you this. And it's really fun, to go find the smartest guy in the world about ancient history and find the smartest guy about astrophysics and the smartest guy about sales. And it's all at our fingertips now. It's really cool. But when it comes down to, I want to learn a specific skill because I have to get a paycheck. I'm not getting paid to have a lot of knowledge and all of those things, but I need to get a paycheck. And the way you get a paycheck in this world is to give value to someone in a way that they signed something and money is exchanged. And you have a contract where you get a portion of that money. So in order to get to that discipline, you need to eliminate more than you need to add. And we're in an addition world. And, and so the idea is you want to have a mentor, a system, a way to go. Something that's worked, someone who's done something before and gotten that transaction to happen.
Yeah.
And everything in your life and your professional world. And if you're new in sales, that should be all there is in your mind. You should take care of the bare necessities at home and all that for the first 6 months. And you should just become this. And every part of your subconscious brain and all that should be doing it. But should be focused on that. But if you try to focus on what this guru says and that guru, and then you're on Facebook and this guy's saying that, you go on LinkedIn and that guy says this and and your brain will naturally try to integrate all those things into your patterns, but those never have worked together.
Yeah.
This system and that system and this guy's saying, and what works to get more clicks on social media probably isn't the thing that actually works to make a sale and all these things. So if you're spending all your time doing that, you're better off eliminating all of that. Losers always want to learn about the industry, and top salespeople want to learn about the customer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The people, and I say losers as in people who don't end up winning. Mm-hmm. Not that they're bad people or anything, but they, what's the industry like? And that's just a never ending question because the industry is a construct. And then they come in and it's like, they don't end up having success.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up because, when we're talking to agents who are looking for a career change and they're kind of feeling out what we're doing, you kind of get that vibe right away where they're like, well, what are the leads like? What is the pay scale like? They're just focused on the concepts of how the business works. Right. But the good agents are like, what do I need to do to be successful?
Right.
I don't care about leads. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I see Jacob and I see Victoria. I see the dojos. I see successful agents. How can I don't care about the noise. How do I get to be them?
Yeah.
And it's you're right, man. It's like there's a lot of saturation. There's a lot of people that are looking for a cure-all for their own life. They're like, I need to search. And subconsciously they're creating this creative avoidance.
Right. And you're talking about so what are the leads like? What's the comp like? What's all these things? These are key decision points you need to make.
Of course.
But we're at a point where used to be I could talk about leads in a way that would make sense to someone and all that. Now, to tell the truth about a lead, the best lead on the planet, which I've been able to create consistently for a long time when I go out and I create, because I have that, I can talk about that and people aren't aware of that being as good as the garbage that's being put out there by foreign companies and telemarketers and all that, just railroading people and promising free stuff. But a good targeted lead that's created, has a good inquiry and consent to be contacted about a specific thing that is relevant to what you're selling, that is the same thing as what you're selling.
Right.
A lot of people don't get that. They're looking for the hype. They're looking for someone to tell them how great it is, and they'll believe whatever's said. And I've dug up and I've tried to partner with a lot of these lead companies that go out there. I say lead companies. These companies that are selling leads, and I found out that most of them don't know how they're created. Mm-hmm. They don't know how they're created. They're bought from someone, and it just becomes a digital exchange of stuff going in there. And when you get down to the owners of these companies, they don't. A lot of them don't know what a landing page is.
Mhm.
They're selling digital leads, but they don't know the difference in a landing page and an ad creative. I mean, just different things like that. I've run into a lot of that. So there's a lot of mess in there. But the bottom line is what someone needs to look for is they need to look for what are you doing? What success are you having?
Mhm.
And it's not, I want to hear all the BS, but I really want to see the people who are having the success. I want to see their history and their track record of success. I want to see that they've weathered the storms in the industry and adapted to the changes correctly, and still stay true and virtuous to who they are. And that, because that's something I can hang my hat on. The business world's not pretty, but if we have longevity and persistence of success, that's really where I would be looking for if I was new. And I would find the people who were, like I've always said, if you're new to sales, find someone who's having that success and ask if you can sweep their floor, because success is elusive. And there's no formula for it. There kind of is, but there's the formula never works unless there's some kind of magic spark that goes along with the formula. And so if you can get around that, then it self feeds. I mean, you look at the NFL. I'm sorry about your Eagles, by the way.
Let's continue.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. We'll see what happens next week. But you look at the NFL. You look at two teams, man. You look at two teams, they're matched up on paper, one will blow out the other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 1 degree of separation between the best team and the worst team in the NFL. Why does one team win all the time and the other one lose, man? There's a spark, there's a chemistry, there's something that happens.
Yeah.
So getting around people who are already having that rather than trying to generate it yourself is very important. I had my dad, and we were able to self-generate something together, but if I would have started, but he had like 10-year career where he he made a living, but he never like catapulted until, I came around and we were able to partner together and make stuff happen. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at, 2023 and the saturation of the market, a lot of people who are being put on base and bonuses. I call it the Medicare matrix. They just sit in there and they're seeing that, oh, this is successful, this is real, and it's not real. Their average Medicare lifespan, is very, very short now, and it's getting shorter by the day. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies are committing to seasonal positions only because they only can make money during that season. And there really isn't any guidance out there. So if people are watching out there, what are some things that you could tell them when they're starting to search for their new career? What do they need to be looking for?
Well, just like I was saying, first of all, find someone who's having success, mm-hmm. and attach yourselves to them. Find that thing. And, some people aren't cut out. Some people aren't cut out to be an agent and the ups and downs, owning their own business or working for themselves. Some people aren't. And if you're not that type of person who can handle more than just doing one little thing, putting one square peg in a square hole every day from 9 to 5 and leaving, if you can't handle more than that, find someone who can and attach yourself to them. Mm-hmm. Be a setter role, like get in a position where someone else, another agency that's having success or someone who's doing good. Even, like with a lot of, like we have people in our office right now that can produce a whole lot, but they have a lot taken care of for them. So they have one role, which is to sell. And there's a lot of people who are a salesperson. They only sell, and that's what they're good at. Mm-hmm. Other people want to work from home, and that takes a little bit more panache. You got to understand how to integrate your lead system with your work habits and all these other things, and manage those things. And I think we give a lot of those tools that make that at least 10 times easier. But you need to decide who you are, where you fit in. Some people just want to go out and they don't want an FMO. They don't want anyone. They want to go do their own thing. You got to be 1 in 100,000 to be able to really do that well,
right?
From scratch, but some people can do that. So find out who you are. And then second, know that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And the long-term results are on who you become. And You're going to need product knowledge. You're going to need sales knowledge. You're going to need knowledge of what a lead is, how to generate a lead, how to get the correct leads, how to work different kinds of leads differently. Right now, people just throw leads and then people do the same thing. They don't know where it comes from. If you're going to get a lead, this is the biggest problem that people are having. If you have the sales ability, the product knowledge, and you have the right carriers and the right upline and the right support systems, technology, and all that, if you don't know how to work it specifically, if you don't know where your lead comes from, and you don't know how to work it specifically for that, then you're going to miss most of your opportunity.
Right.
Because what you have, people say it's leads, and then they just start yelling and barking at people, and they say it's a numbers game. Well, that's the early thing. When you become more advanced, you realize that this isn't a number. It is a numbers game. But people just use that to say I can be incompetent and math.
Right.
What you want to do is say, okay, this is a human being who had an experience. Where were they? They were at their mailbox and they got a card coming in. They were typing on the search engine they were on Facebook talking to their friends and grandkids, and this popped up. And why out of all the messages that they got, did that one resonate with them? And they click on that. Mm-hmm. You know, in my world, when I'm generating a lead, I put out a specific kind of message, and the ad is not to get as many clicks as possible, which is what's being sold out there.
Yeah,
it's to draw out of the masses the specific type of person with the specific type of need I'm looking for, mm-hmm. so that there can be continuity. So when I see that this person was on Facebook and they saw something that says I am interested in saving in something about, say, Medicare supplement. Mm-hmm. And specifically about saving money or about increasing coverage on a certain thing or whatever it is, I know what that is, and that draws out a certain type of person. Now, they have an experience where they clicked on this, and now they either went to a website and they filled out a form and looked at quotes, or they filled out an on Facebook lead, and then that comes through.
Right.
Now, where is that? Now, if I call and say, hey, I'm a Medicare specialist here to help. Okay. That's a generic thing. It's like, hey, listen, I got your request. I know you're on Facebook. You responded to our ad. I guess there was something you liked about that. Listen, I'm a Medicare specialist. I'm here to help. You can, that matches because they're going through their life, and you didn't come in and attack them. Mm-hmm. You came in and walked beside them.
Right.
I said, hey, yeah, I saw that you're having that. So, and you can connect with them. There's no friction with mm-hmm. that if you know that correctly.
Yeah.
Most people right now are just blamming, and that they say it's a numbers game, and so we're mass producing incompetence and creating a lot of just garbage in the world where everyone's upset with each other and all that. And I'm not saying that always ever goes away, but you can reduce it. By doing that, you'll make a lot more sales. And the last thing I'll say is, don't make a sale, make a lifelong friend.
Yeah,
build a lifetime customer. The value you get in making a sale. This is what the big call centers and most people, the MA sales and all this is going down to, is that we make a sale, we look at the first year commission, and we might get a renewal, but that 3 or 4 year persistency is going down and down and down really rapidly because of this lower quality, and training people to just shop as often as possible. Yeah. But look at it like, how can I do, because you've done 95% of the work to get that sale, 5% more work turns them into a lifetime customer. It's ridiculous to not do that extra 5% of work, knowing what that is, and then taking that and extrapolating over a period of time. You're going to make 5 times more money mm-hmm. by building a lifetime customer with 5% more work. I mean, how insane is it not to do that? But people want the quick rush. They want to get that hit. They beat their chest. I got to sell. I'm putting numbers on the board. They spend more time posting on Facebook what their numbers are and beating themselves on the chest and trying to turn that customer into a lifetime customer, right?
Yeah.
Like, focus on what you need to do. Eliminate all distractions. Learn one method, one teaching system. And until you can make that work, don't let anything else, I'm going to go find someone who's successful. I'm going to find their system, and I'm going to make that work. Mm-hmm. When you can make that work and you get to where you're making it work very well, then you can, you'll add your own personality to it a little bit, but then only once you're really crushing it on that should you start innovating off of a mature system. It can be better like this. The opposite is most people come in and say, I'm going to innovate this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're successful, but I think this because I saw Grant Cardone say this sales technique that he used to tell car people how to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go do that. There's an evolution there to do that. So that you asked me what time it was. I told you how to build a watch, but this is what people need to know.
Yeah. So I would really like to take that messaging that we're talking about today, your deconstruction of how to be a successful Medicare supplement agent. I want to share it with our own agents who should be with us. So I think at this time, Buckley, we're going to turn it over.
Private?
Yeah, we're going to turn it over to our agents. For those of you that were watching that are not part of our ecosystem, thank you. We will be here tomorrow talking about, getting ready for the new year, getting on that phone. I do enjoy talking with you, Brandon. I do enjoy talking with our agents, but this is the time of the year to get on the phone.
Now,
recording in progress.
Platform. So
yeah, we're switching over. So,
all right.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it over to our agents who have been watching our VIP group. And
are we off public?
Not yet. Yeah. So anyway, so wrap up public. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow. And then if you are Medicare Guru's agent, go ahead and hop into your Zoom. So that way we can start discussing the stuff that you talked about today, which is going to be very helpful.
And find us Medicare Guru's page on Facebook and other social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You see this. If you're not, we're on most social media platforms. But I'd like to see you guys hit us up on Facebook if you would like to know more about how you can become part of the Medicare Guru's internal ecosystem. Not only, as a career agent, but there's other methods as well. Let me know what your interest is on that on Facebook, on the Medicare Guru's Facebook page.
Thank you. All right, Bucky, turn it over to you.
Back to private now.
Yeah.